Hanaki! Did you know that our souls are connected by fate? What do you know? I'm Yuno Hanaki, the one and only Oran from Loon. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in. Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing good. Happy Sunday. I probably am not going to be streaming for very long today, but, I still wanted to hang out for a little bit before we get into the chaos that is the upcoming week. I mean, I say chaos, it's not really that much. But it's going to be a lot of gaming, so we're going to have less chances to chat. Therefore, I figured it would probably just be better to get in a little bit of chatting today, so we don't have to worry about it, later. Yeah. We playing hooky with this. Okay, well, to be fair, I'm not taking any actual classes right now. I've just been doing a lot of self-study, YouTube tutorials and a dream. So, that's kind of what I'm taking a break from. And I think that it's fair that I want to take a little break. Because, look, I'm tired. I'm teaching myself new skills, and my brain, hasn't had to turn this, plastic in a hot minute. So, I'm trying to, regain my, what's it called? Neuroplasticity? I'm trying to make my brain flexible again, so that way I can actually learn things. And it's kind of working. I've been working on something that I feel like is starting to shape into kind of what I want, but also not really. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work, and I am, tired. So I don't want to do it any more of it right now. So instead, I am hanging out with you, which is a different kind of work, but it's a more fun work. The frontal lobe finally developing. No, unfortunately, it's never going to develop, but I just had to, like, unstick my brain, in order to make it plastic. I'm basically, like, squishing it like silly putty until it's soft again. Yeah. Is it a Build-A-Bear? No. I kind of wish. I haven't been to Build-A-Bear in a long time. I do have a Build-A-Bear. She has a wig. My Build-A-Bear has a wig, if you can believe. I'm pretty sure she's in my closet, like with my other plushies that didn't make it onto the bed when I first moved here. But yeah, I do have a Build-A-Bear, and she has a wig. It's something that I always kind of laugh at. I don't know why I had to give her a wig, but I gave her a wig. Sure. Why not, right? Definitely snatched. Yeah, probably. It's probably also really ugly at this point, because she's been sitting in a box for so long. Her hair is probably messed up. Poor thing. But yeah, no, it's not a Build-A-Bear. I am teaching myself video editing, for obvious reasons, because I want to do more traditional YouTube videos. And I'm also trying to teach myself some audio editing so I can start self-producing covers. Primarily. I'm thinking about also trying to learn some, like, mixing stuff for the sake of, like, future voice packs and roleplay videos. But I'm not really good at the audio side of... Well, audio. No shit, the whole thing's audio. I'm stupid. What I meant to say is I'm not really good at, like, volume balancing and leveling. Because my ears are very, very sensitive, and if noise gets too loud, it doesn't work for me. So I naturally mix really quiet. So everything comes out really quiet after I finish producing something. So I usually say that I'm not going to do the voluming part, and I just do other stuff. So right now I am trying to teach myself vocal editing, which is tuning and timing. And I'm probably not going to do leveling and stuff, but at least I'll have half of the work done, so that way when I commission people to do the leveling, I don't have to pay as much money. Thump up. I'm planning ahead. At least I'm trying to. I have no guarantees that what I'm going to work on is going to actually sound good, but I am trying my best. I've been watching tutorials. I have been trying to practice with things that I've recorded both previously and stuff that I record newly for the sake of practice. And yeah, that's kind of how that's going. I haven't really started practicing video editing yet. I'm scared. It is a daunting task to practice video editing, so I haven't really looked into that yet. But I'm planning to soon enough. What program are you learning for video editing? I mean, I have DaVinci Resolve, which I hear is kind of like the standard these days if you can't afford Adobe products. So it's probably going to be learning how to use DaVinci Resolve, but there's a few other, video editing softwares. The lessons that I've been looking into use different ones. So I've been thinking about learning one of those too, as well. But I hear most, like, VTubers tend to use DaVinci, so I will be trying to use DaVinci. Plus, DaVinci's free, so it kind of works out. Makes sense to learn the free platform before committing to spending a lot of money on a program you might not like using. The program that I'm using for tuning is something that I actually got for my birthday, like, years and years ago, back when I was still just posting song covers online. But I didn't really like using it, so it's just kind of been sitting, rotting on my PC, unused. So I'm forcing myself to use it. But unfortunately, a lot of the tutorials are expecting you to be using the, like, more pro version, the one that costs more money. But if I want to upgrade, that costs more money. So I'm like, why does everything cost money dollars? Yuck. So I'm using the baby version, which is fine by me. It gets the job done. It's just that all of the tutorials use the fancy one, so I have to kind of be like, well, I don't have that. Well, thanks, Mr. Tutorial Man. I don't have that. So what am I supposed to do? And the answer is figure it out myself, I guess. Blit. I'm very stubborn when it comes to learning new things and doing new things and making myself learn and do new things. And that stubbornness usually gets in the way of what I'm trying to do a lot of the time. That's also partially why I'm streaming right now instead of practicing. Because I was getting frustrated. I was like, ugh, this still sounds like shit. So I gave up. I'm trying to fight back against that urge to be super critical and, like, over perfectionist with what I'm doing. But it's still hard. It's still hard. So I'm trying to give myself a bit of patience and grace as well, because there's only so much I can do. I'm still learning. Wild assumption that people have money these days. Yeah, no, true. Very, very true. But, like, I get it. Most of the time, if you're looking up tutorials, they're assuming you're, like, super serious about the thing that you're learning and that you're willing to put the money forward in order to do the thing. Which I probably would be if I felt more confident, but since I don't right now, I am not. So I'm using the baby free version, and then same with DaVinci, I have the baby free version. But there's still a lot that you can do even with the free versions, so it's not like I'm, well, okay. I'm not using baby free version, I'm using baby basic, like the one that was less than $100 for the one software, and then the other software is free. DaVinci is free. If you are ever interested in getting into clipping for your VTuber Oshis, DaVinci Resolve is free. And to most people is pretty intuitive to use. It's not for me. The last time I ever properly edited videos, I was literally using Windows Movie Maker to make Yaoi AMVs. So it's been a hot minute for me since I've had to edit anything. So I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I don't really find DaVinci to be very intuitive. But that's why I haven't started giving myself lessons on it, because I'm going to have to literally start from the beginning. And I'm not looking forward to it, because it's going to be a lot of, here's how to open the program. But I kind of need it, because I don't know where the fuck anything is. Microsoft now has another one, which is Clipchamp. It is super simple and free. I've used Clipchamp like once, because I use just like whatever's built into Windows to make my highlights for my covers. I don't like Clipchamp. Clipchamp kind of sucks. I don't like it. But that's just my opinion. If you like it, that's great. I tried to use it and I didn't like it, and I couldn't do what I needed to do on it, so it was pissing me off. But yeah. So much yaoi AMV left unmade. I know. We've truly entered the dark ages. Where are the yaoi AMVs? We need more yaoi AMVs set to every time we touch. And like other bullshit AMVs. I made yaoi AMVs to country songs because that was all I listened to growing up, and therefore I was a very interesting case of using very straight country music for yaoi. That's definitely just who I am as a person. You can figure out what that says about me on your own time if you'd like. But I think it pretty much says everything that needs to be said. Yowie, huh? Yeah. Howdy, partner. So true. Howdy, partner, parentheses, the gay way. It's truly an experience. I only remember, like, one specifically that I made. It was Flynn and Yuri. But I can't fully remember the song that I chose for them. I wish I could. But it was definitely, like, a deep cut country song. Because, like, there is one country song that did actually get the Cascada Every Time We Touch treatment. Because Cascada ended up covering it. And that's the song What Hurts the Most by Rascal Flatts. I know that one actually got used for a few AMVs because of the fact that it was also revamped by Cascada. But it wasn't that song. I am pretty sure it wasn't that song. Howdy Yowie, if you will. Not the Howdy Yowie. Brokeback Mountain, Neuron Rearrangement confirmed, implied, country top 40 mixed. I did... So, Onimama owned Brokeback Mountain, I believe on DVD. I think it was a DVD copy. And I did actually end up watching it with my first girlfriend before the two of us became girlfriends. If we're going to bring it up. We watched it because we knew that it was gay. And then it was sad. So it was sad and gay. And that was definitely a bonding experience to have with somebody. Never watch something just because someone says it's gay. Sometimes you'll just end up sad. Cowboys to lovers. Kind of. Doomed Yaoi? Yes. Brokeback Mountain is literally just Doomed Yaoi. If we're real. Also, Yaoi in denial. Oh, Hanaki, welcome in, welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Why does my voice feel so hoarse? Oh, it's probably because I've been recording all of these frickin' samples I've been using for my testing. But I feel so hoarse today. I don't know why. I hope I'm not getting sick. It reminded me of the time some friends were sad and wanted to watch a Jim Carrey movie to cheer up. They almost picked Eternal Sunshine. Oh no. Not Eternal Sunshine. No. That's pretty funny though. It's like, oh, this has an optimistic sounding title and cover. And it's Jim Carrey. Nothing could go wrong here. Like a liar. Eternal Sunshine was one of my friends' favorite movies for a long time. And I didn't really get a chance to watch it with her. But then I had to watch it for a film class that I took in college. And I was like, oh wow, I finally get to understand why she likes this so much. And then I was like literally crying in the lecture hall while we were watching it. And I was just like, why does she like this so much? Sorry, I literally have expressions. I can make this more accurate. Why does she like this so much? I don't understand. And now I have to take notes and write an essay on it through my tears. Because the way that class worked is we had to, take notes while we were watching the movie, and then we also had to we also took 20 minutes after the movies were over to fully write out our thoughts in an essay instead of just the jumbled notes we took during the movie, to think critically about it, and mostly to talk about the writing techniques that had been employed within it, because it was a story and film class was what it was called. So we mostly had to write the essay to kind of analyze the narrative beats and how it chose to convey the story that it did within the film. And I was like, oh god. Through my tears. Whole paragraph dedicated to just I created. In my already bad handwriting, because my brain thinks faster than my hand can go, so my hand would just start scribbling at a certain point. Anytime we had to do in-class writing like this, because I still went to school during a time where they were less friendly to laptops, so they really insisted that we handwrite. And they specifically told us to handwrite in pen because it smudged less than pencil. So, my handwriting would get progressively worse the more impassioned I was getting on the topic that I was writing about, and then it would get really scribbly. And then if you mix in the fact that I'm crying because movie sad, the actual essay is just indecipherable. I think they did end up calling on me to ask what my thoughts were, and I was like, I will try to read this, but I have to tell you, I cried, and some of my words are smudged, and also I can't write, so here we go. It's pretty crazy. And then we'd have to come into the class the next week with a typed up version of whatever we wrote in class and like refined, so that way he could actually like grade it. Pens smudge less than pencil, the heck are they smoking? No, that is actually true. Because there was a time I had to use a pencil instead of a pen to write something in one of those classes, and it really did like smudge way more than the pen did. I don't know what the science is behind it, but they were right. Pencil did not work nearly as well as pen, so I was like, damn it, I guess you have a point. And I started using pens more. Computer notes have made my random quick notes actually legible. I've been saying this, but you know, like I said, I went to school during a time where they still really wanted you to handwrite. So I couldn't really use my laptop as much. It eventually, like, near the end of my program, they started allowing people to use laptops a bit more often, but most people were still handwriting. I imagine it's probably completely different now. Like, if I were to go back to campus, I imagine I'd pretty much see everybody using a MacBook or something. For me, even if I wanted to use my laptop, I had to drag my gigantic gaming laptop to class, and it was always so loud and clunky compared to everybody else's, like, nice, cute little MacBooks. And also, my laptop was dying near the end of my school days, so I had to, like, plug in a USB keyboard and plug in a USB mouse if I even wanted to use the dang thing. So in the end, it wasn't really that useful to bring it, but I did anyway. And it was mostly so I could, be on Discord while I was, taking my classes. But no one has to know that part. No one has to know that part. Mechanical pencils are terrible because you can't put any weight on them. Old number 2s work better, but you smear them if you rest your hand on the paper. Yes, exactly that. And the pencils I had been using were mechanical, so my writing was, like, super light, and then ended up really illegible and smudgy. Pay attention to class. No! No! I never went to college, so I can't say. I will say that any homework assignments I was given, I was always told to type it up because I have horrible handwriting. Yeah, that's fair. I think I got that note in high school more than I did in college, but that's also because in college they expected everything to be typed up the next week. So it was just kind of a given that everybody typed then. But in high school, I do remember that there were a couple times where everyone else was submitting theirs handwritten, but then the teacher would be like, you know, I think I might understand this better if you type it, so why don't you take this home and type it and bring it to me in the morning? And I'd be like, okay. Okay, I see what you mean. I remember when only rich private and magnet schools used laptops. I remember when my high school had, like, school-issued... I guess they weren't really MacBooks, but it was, like, Apple laptops before they started making them MacBooks. And you couldn't actually take them home. You could only use them within the context of the class, but they started giving them to us then instead of sending us to the computer lab, because they knew sending us to the computer lab in the library was just dooming us to never get our work done. So they were like, all right, fine, we'll get the freaking laptops. So at least then they could actually pay attention to what we were doing, kind of, and, like, keep a better eye on us and make sure we weren't faffing about, as they say.
Do better.
Josh Knowles, thank you for the $20 tip. Thank you, thank you. Money for Oni, you are cool. I'm talking about very nerdy topics for someone who is allegedly cool, but thank you for saying so. I appreciate it. Just lugging a whole desktop setup around. I would have had incredible Hulk arms if I did that. But also, I didn't have a proper desktop setup for most of my school career. I did, like, once when I first started using the internet, and then by the time I was in high school, I was pretty much only using laptops. So I didn't have a proper, like, personal desktop for myself for a very long time. And then when I went to college, because I traveled back and forth between areas for school, I went to a different part of Onigashima for school. So I just had a laptop because it was easier to keep everything on a laptop because I could bring it back and forth. But I had a really heavy-duty one when I first started, and then I got a slightly more lightweight one that was more gaming-oriented for Christmas my first year of college. And that was the one I used for the rest of my college career, and then for a little bit afterwards. I didn't actually get a proper desktop setup until I decided to become a streamer. So, that was a long time. That was a long time of not having a proper desktop setup. I also never understood the value of dual monitors until I was at school and I was, like, working, and the computer setups that we had in our office were dual monitor. I didn't really understand the appeal of it until then, and then I was like, oh, whoa, I get it now. I get it. So I knew that if I ever decided to get a desktop setup in the future, I would probably get a second monitor someday. It still took a little bit, but I did eventually get my big PC, my big boy. Once you have two, going back is so hard. No, it really is. It really, really is.
It seems fate led you here. What a meaningful connection.
Fumi, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in, welcome in. I hope you enjoy your stay. I cannot see myself ever going back to one monitor. True. I especially feel that way now that I have my monitor riser, that was very kindly funded by you guys via Throne. Now that I have the riser, it's a lot easier to actually utilize the fact that there's two monitors. Because before, I had to have one monitor just, like, tilted at an angle in order to actually see. And it was, like, not, it was not really useful. I don't feel like I was actually taking advantage of the, fact that it was two monitors. But I do now. That's the 6-7 alert I was referring to last time. Oh, the follower alert? Yeah, that's fair. It does kind of seem like a 6-7, but it's mostly because of the fact that the Damadachi are going back and forth. If anything, you guys are the ones 6-7ing. Not the Rokunanas. Stop it. Been one monitor all my life. That's very fair. I do, for someone who has two, I do feel like I prioritize the monitor that's directly in front of my face more than the second monitor, but I do still use the second monitor quite a bit. But I feel like I still accidentally end up putting everything on my first monitor regardless. Whoopsies. I'd rather drink bleach. Well, please don't do that. Don't do that part. It'll make your flame explode. Among other things that could go wrong, honestly. And we don't want that. Well, I don't want that for you. So, you know, don't do that. Don't do that, please. The main monitor is for the main activity. Second monitor is for Discord and background entertainment. True. Although I do actually keep Discord up on my main monitor because I actively text chat a lot. And when I type, I always have to type with something that's on my primary monitor. I can't type on a side monitor. I don't like it. Bro maid's Discord. Yeah, and what about it? Second monitor is for the Oni. Yes, I am the second monitor streamer. I have a whole clip dedicated to that on my Twitch. Because someone liked that rant I had about myself, I suppose. Though I'm trying a little bit harder, or well, I'm going to be trying a little bit harder in the next streams to be a more active presence to where people will actually want to like hang out in chat and or clip me and or engage with me. I'm trying to be a more actively engaging individual. Is it working? I don't know. It's taking a lot of energy. But I do want to try and be a bit better about that. So I'm like, I'm doing my best. Stretching the stream over both monitors. That is the thing you could do. Every time I open the tracking app for my model, she sometimes loads in the middle of the two monitors, and I'm just like, why are you doing that? That's never where I keep the program. I don't know why it keeps wanting to spawn in between the connection of my monitors. Just don't. Why are you like this? I don't get why she does it. I think she just thinks it's funny, probably. It's for the bit, perhaps. Yeah, Oni gets active. I'm really trying. I'm really, really, really trying. It's just like, I don't really understand how to do it, and it doesn't come super naturally to me. So I'm trying to push myself to be better at it. You might be able to tell based on how we are yapping today. I'm really, really trying to not have too much dead air. I'm really trying to keep my voice in like a upper energy register, and I'm trying to just keep yapping, and I'm really trying to not overthink too much before I start talking, because the main thing I'm trying to avoid is dead air, and it might be working a little bit, but it's going to be a learning curve. There's probably going to be days where I do well, and there's probably going to be days where I don't do well. And we'll just have to see what happens as we go. But, you know, that's the goal. I don't ever really want to reach a point where I'm, like, clip farming. So don't think I'm ever going to do something to purposefully, like, force a clip by being really outrageous and silly. It's just, like, I want to be more engaged, I suppose, or, like, try to really punch jokes out more. I don't really know how to do it. So I'm just doing my best. It's all I can do. But I'm really self-conscious about how I am as a creator and like what I provide and all of that. So I'm really trying to be better. Because if I want to make more content, it'll help if the streams actually have things that are usable for content. And less just like me being a blob on stream. There's gotta be more movement. I gotta be less circle. I gotta be more bouncing off the walls or something. I don't know. You can breathe, but we love outrageous and silly. I mean, yes, I know I can breathe, but I'm trying to do it less. I'm trying to breathe less, because for me, as an individual, if I allow my natural pattern to persist in a stream, there will be, like, really long moments of pauses, and a lot of time where I think before I say something, and that's not always good for streams. And I'm trying to just kind of let it punch out. Punch, 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 punch. Slime no, my besquished. Not the besquished. Don't squish me. I don't deserve it. Low oxygen helps with the yapping. Kind of. It's more so just like the stream of conscious. I'm not really like overthinking. I'm not trying not to pause as much. More so. I am breathing. I am breathing. It's just, I'm trying to like be a more interesting on-stream presence in a way. Because going back to it, my goal is to be a more engaging person so that people are more willing to like see me and be interested in hanging out with us in our community. And the only way to really do that is to be more punchy and more, like, valuable in the way of, like, being a little crazy, but not, like, crazy, just, like, having more energy versus the super mellow, doesn't always work. Even though I am a very mellow person. And I prefer being mellow. I just have to really try and, like, make it better, because if I ever want to start posting shorts and clips and stuff again, the punchy stuff is the stuff that gets attention. I'll do my best. Gotta get spicier? I mean, that is also an option, but unfortunately that would also cause me to get bonked on multiple platforms. I guess on YouTube I don't really care as much because I'm already demonetized and I can't get my monetization back, but on Twitch I care a little bit more because this is monetized. I don't really think there's many cases of them taking away monetization, but there are cases where they've, like, suspended people / banned people. Not that I think I would really do anything bannable, but I don't really want to risk a suspension either. Your girl needs money! So I've got to try and be nice-ish. Nice-ish. Instructions unclear. She punched a Damadachi. Me when I fucking get you. Utilize that sharp wit. Take shots back at us. We can take it. Well, you guys have to take shots first. Shoot me! Shoot me! Are they still harsh on VTubers? They have times where they are harsh on VTubers. Like, there was that whole thing about people were, like, talking about the clothing limit for female VTubers. Female presenting models have to be careful about showing, like, too much boob and showing too much arm and too much leg and all of that stuff. Like, literally, there's a whole lot of places on a VTuber lady model that you have to be really careful about showing on Twitch, if you're small. If you're a big VTuber, you can get away with more because they like that you're bringing in so much money to the platform. You didn't hear that from me. But I would say that they are more so strict on smaller VTubers than they are on the big uns. I think the big ones tend to get away with a little bit more stuff, even if they're technically breaking TOS. And then it causes situations where it's like, well, if creator XYZ can do it, I can do it too. And then that person gets banned and they're like, what the heck? Why did I get banned? And this other person didn't. Gas favoritism. Shoot between the horns like they're goalposts. You know when you played that game with, like, the paper football during class when you were bored? And you would flick the folded up paper triangle in between the two fingers that were being held up as goalposts? We don't even need to hold up fingers. We just have my horns. Now, according to Twitch, you can have pets on stream. I have not heard anything about this. I don't even know what that means. I saw the notification and immediately forgot because I lack obstinate persimmons. That's okay. I've been known that you guys lack obstinate persimmons for a long time now. That's okay. Pre-prepared for paper football. Me requesting design elements for my model. Can you make it so that the horns are perfect for paper football? As my mama is like, what is paper football? This is a joke, by the way. I did not incorporate plans for paper football into my design. I did not do that. I totally have objective parallelograms. Not this shit again. We always end up back here. Please. The best outcome starts with no plans. I had a very loose plan, which I've already mentioned before. I don't have to rehash it. It was truly just, do you see this Oni? Can you make her purple? and like modernize her design a little bit. Thanks, man. And then I specifically was like, well, I have to turn off the buns for this part, but I was like, keep forehead, stay Oni, keep thigh tattoo. I believe those were the only requests that I had. Yeah, literally, one Urpal Oni, please, mama, I love you. That was basically the equivalent of what I said. I was like, I trust your design sense, so you can do whatever. But you need to keep the thigh tattoo, and you need to keep the forehead. And then I mentioned I wanted a second hairstyle, and that, in exchange for me being strict about keeping the OG hairstyle, she would be allowed to change it to whatever she wanted for the second one. And then she cooked like 6 amazing ones, and I was like, man. But luckily the picking and choosing made it so I could get this, which I still really love. You asked for a meal, not a feast. I asked for like a topping, not an entire second feast. I asked for 2, why did you give me 6? If it wasn't for the fact that I wasn't sure if it would cost more money, I probably would have asked for more than just the 1 alternate. Yellow also only has 1 alternate, but I think in my head, I'm kind of hoping that whenever the next one comes...
Cute. Do better.
I think I would like to have like 3 hairstyles for the next model, which I guess means Yuki Onna is going to have 3 hairstyles. Maybe. Probably. Depends on if it costs too much money. Depends on vibes. Conrad, thank you for the leet tip. Thank you, thank you. We like our nerdy purple Oni Oiran, parentheses, wife attached. Yes, I should hope so. She is still attached, right? Hold on, we gotta check. Is she good? Yeah, she's good. Hi, wife. Hi, wife, hello. Hi, hello, wife. Hi, hello. She's doing good down there. We're good. Can we ever see the other drafts? I have shown them on stream before, but it wasn't on a dedicated stream. It was at the beginning of Agree, the first time I played it. But I don't mind showing you again because I have permission to. Uno momento, por favor. Do 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 do. Wop up up up. Now I'm wondering if wife is a toggle like the last model. No, wife is not a toggle. I turned wife into a toggle on 1.0. But she was never a toggle originally on 1.0 either. Where is... No, that's not the right thing. Sorry, it's giant. One sec. I guess I could just do the thing. Hold on. There we go. So these were the hairstyles that Sumeragi Kohaku cooked up when it was time to discuss that part of the model. This was what she cooked. So we have what originally became the plan for the buns in style 1. And then we have ponytail, up high ponytail for style 2. Style 3 was like short bob with the side bang, the long side bang part. Twin tails with pretty ribbons. And then 5 is a more like straight up Oni kind of vibe with like really long bang and like really long straight hair in the back, but like tucked behind the ear on the other one. Oh, Hanaki, welcome in, welcome in. Keep 5 for a super mature or emo-themed outfit? Maybe. I do really like 5, but I also wasn't sure how I felt about one of the main hairstyles covering up my eye, because I feel like being able to see my eyes is important. And then also here's what the sketch looked like for base Yuno. This was like the main reference that I had. So I didn't know a lot of certain details that were going to be on the model until near its completion. For a long time, I was just going off of the sketch, so I didn't really know what the pattern was going to look like. I didn't know how detailed the butterfly obi was going to look. I also didn't know how wife was going to look. She just kind of was like a squiggle for a long time. 5 is very Oidon. 4 is who is this cheeky brat? Yeah, kinda. I liked it. And I said this the last time I was looking at these alt hairstyles, but there's just some that I feel like don't really make sense because I have horns. If I didn't have horns, I think some of these designs probably would have looked better. But unfortunately, I feel as if my horns get in the way of a lot of the more fun hairstyles. Also, the problem with hairstyle 2, even though I love ponytails, is that you can't really see them. So it's kind of not that fun to have a hairstyle where you can't really see it most of the time on a model where you only face the front. I guess if I was more 3D and I could do more stuff where my back would face you guys a lot, maybe the long ponytail would make more sense, but I didn't really want a hairstyle where you couldn't really see the hair. Which is very unfortunate. That's a lot of the time, that's why VTubers don't usually go for ponytails in their default, or if they do go for a ponytail, it's on the side of the head, because then you can actually see the hair. A full ponytail from the back doesn't always work. In this case, it might have, because you can see a bit of the hair behind her neck there, but normally you don't usually do a full back ponytail. I really liked 3. I was very attached to 3. I almost just went plain 3 when it came to picking. But I was getting second opinions from Hitomi and from Kaya at the time to like figure out what would be smartest. I was thinking about plain 3. I did really like that. Really dramatic short angled bob, but I also really liked the buns, and so when I was talking to Kaya, I was like, I wish there was a way I could fuse and like know what it would look like if I combined the front part of 3 with the buns of 1, and then she fused them for me to show me what it would look like, and I was like, yeah, I think that's what I want. And that's why I look like this now. That's why I look like this now. Too close to the dead mom anime hairstyle. Dead mom anime hairstyle is a side pony resting on the shoulder. Number 3 is not dead anime mom. Maybe you make the ponytail swing a lot. Yeah, I'd have to be a way more like animated person in order for that part to work. But I really liked the buns, and I really liked the overall style of 3. So in the end, I chose to mix them. Because I didn't really care for the front hair as much on 1. I knew I wanted to change the bangs. I just didn't know what I wanted to fully change it to until I ideated what the front part of 3 would have looked like. Yeah. And then I also have... I have a couple different iteration thingies. Because when I asked for the buns... Sumeragi then gave me 3 alternative options for them. Yeah. So then we have the original, which is what we ended up choosing, obviously. Hi, hello, me, hi. And then we have 2, which is making the buns a bit smaller. And then we have option 3, which was hair loops. We could have had hair loop buns instead of just normal buns, but I stuck with 1 because I thought that 2 was kind of cute, but wasn't fully what I wanted. And then the problem with 3 is that the hair loops kind of don't really work well with my horns. We are going back to the whole, I feel like the twin tails and things like that can't necessarily work on my head because my horns are already on my head, so I just have 4 things sticking off my head. So I can't really take advantage of hairstyles like that usually. I think the fact that the buns are big is that they're behind the horns, and so they look like they blend a little bit more. But the hair loops don't really work, in my opinion, personally. Could you get them added, or is it too late? In theory, I probably could go back to Sumeragi and ask if it would be possible to get a different hairstyle added on. But it would probably cost money, obviously. And I think if I was going to go back and ask for something like the hair loops, I probably would want longer hair with them too, because I feel like that's the only way the balance would really work on my head. I just don't feel like, especially with the accessories she chose with the really long ribbons on the hair loops, I just don't feel like it balances with the rest of my head. It looks really cute though. But like, because it's got the long, like, sash of the ribbon there, it just feels like it's clashing a little bit with the rest of my head, and it wouldn't really make sense on me unless I also had, like, some sort of longer hair on it too. But like, technically it's not too late. I think I could just ask for another hairstyle, but then I would also have to figure out how to get it rigged. That would be a problem too. If you go for hair loops, I would take away the side hair. Yeah, I think the side hair would probably get in the way as well. But maybe eventually we'll get a hairstyle with hair loops. Who's to say? The buns are a good choice, I think. Thanks, man. Oh, and since we're here, I can show you the initial drafts for the OB. Because initially, the original design for Yuno is the one on the far left here. Originally, the OB was going to be this big, and it was going to have well, these are white, but they were going to be like flowers. It was going to be more oiron coated, in that it was going to be big like this. But I was like, can we make it smaller? My audience wants to see my boobs. Because I know how you are. And I know that that was a big complaint about 1.0, is that the OB covered up a lot of my chest so you couldn't see my power level. So I was like, I like this, however, comma, I know what the people want to see, so can we adjust this? You don't know us? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You can act like it's not true. But I know the truth, and it's fine. I don't necessarily blame you. But yeah, these were the alternate options. We had this initial one here with the flowers, and then she made it a bit smaller, but still more like oiron coated with like the pearls. Forehead and thighs, actually. Well, yes. I made a choice later that involved making sure you could see wife, which was adjusting the key visual, because initially my key visual covered wife entirely with how my leg was posed, and so I asked her to move my leg so that wife was visible. But yeah, these were the options for the OB, and I ended up choosing the butterfly one because I liked it the best. I just thought it was the cutest and probably the more creative of the options. Not that I didn't like the other two, but I liked the pop of pink as well. Honestly, because the pink was there. It kind of swayed me. I'm easy to please. More interested in the side view? I don't know if I have a initial version of the side view, but like, side view does exist. Bum. Side view. Where's that arrow pointing? Critics still don't know to this day. But yeah, if you compare this to 1.0, you can see that I have bigger boob and also more cake on my butt. My butt got a little bigger. More lifted. The figure is fuller. Yes, sir. And then you can also see, this is one of my favorite things about it too, is that you finally understand how like the headpiece works. Because you can see that my hair is technically tied up in the back like this. And then it's pinned in place with the hair comb. So the little like tiara hair comb thingy sits on like this part of the bang, and then the rest of it goes down. It's so nice. Yuno got surgery. They did surgery on a Yuno. Can you believe it? It's crazy. Fire Lord Yuno. A little bit. A little bit. But yeah, then she also has the reference for how far the sleeve droopies and the different levels of the black dress. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't know the horns are flat? Yeah. Bustier, yep, that's in the notes 90% of the time. The other 10% want that 4.0. Well, I didn't ask to be made bigger. I really didn't. I was like... I told you what I asked for. And then whatever Sumeragi decided after that, I just left it up to her. She was the one who decided I needed to be buffed. Which I'm fine with. Fake horns I see. They're not fake. They're just at an angle. Saraki's just based, I've been saying. I really love how detailed this ref sheet is, especially if you compare it to 1.0's where it was like so plain and still didn't really make sense. I really think that Sumeragi did a really good job. The other ref sheet that we have, which is also like pinned on my tweeter, is the one that's more specifically for the elements of the clothes. So we have the different layers of the OB. A solid individual reference for wife. Because wife didn't have a reference for 1.0. You just kind of had to look at her. But an individual reference for wife so that you know how long she is. And then a reference for the pattern. I had to specifically ask for a reference for the kimono pattern. Not just because I knew that fan artists would want it, but because Kaya told me to. Kaya wanted it. Specifically, she wanted to know if she could get like a texture brush so that she could just immediately paint it on whenever she had to draw me for something. But Sumeragi didn't give me that, so I was like, you're gonna have to just accept this. Didn't realize those were tassels and thought they were swords? Yeah, no, they're tassels. No, they are tassels.
Cute. Do better.
Itomi, thank you for the $10 tip. Thank you. Bless me with your soccer cards and tell me if I'll ever get a career I'm passionate about. Huh? I left an old message. I was about to say, I'm not doing tarot reading right now. Are you stressed out about work right now? Is that what's going on over there? Oh dear. Okay, good to know. Thank you for the $10 anyway. Thank you. Thank you, bro. Thank you. But yeah, these are the ref sheets. You can also find them properly on my Twitter in my pinned. Because that's where they are. I left the old message from the last time I donated on browser. Okay. Just checking, just checking. Good. I'm glad everything's good. Press send too quickly. Bro pressed send and forgot to, like, actually include a different message. Model is boosted yet still balanced. How to put it, it's bigger but not comically. Yeah. I still think that overall my mama prioritized kind of realistic proportions. Which I like, because I very much prefer realism in my anime women. I don't mind a big boobie, but I don't really like it when they're comically big boobie. At least for myself. I prefer a more realistic, curve to my models. So I'm happy with this build, personally. Comically big can break immersion. Comically big is distracting, not just to you guys, obviously, but also to me, because if I was bigger than this and I was like nodding and bouncing and wiggling all the time, I think all of us would just be distracted by where they're going. Where are you going? Please come back. I also think I'd get bonked on like 6 different platforms, but you know. Again, a privilege given to the people who are bigger in more ways than one. Anyhow. It wouldn't be Wiggles at that point, it would be an earthquake. One of the few that prefer if it balances with the head. For me, I just prefer that it balances with the rest of the body. Because, like, one of the things that always confuses me is when they have gigantic bobble and really tiny waist. I'm just like, I don't feel like that makes sense. And then also bombastic thighs and butt immediately after. Again, there's no shade to the people who do like this, if that makes them happy. And if they do somehow manage to look like that, that's great. Love that for you. For me, no. For me, I want it to look like I actually have meat on my bones, and I want to look like I actually have hips. Sorry, you can actually see this better if I take the top off. I want to look like I actually have hips, and like there's overall balance to the composition of my body. But that's just me. I do not judge other people who do it in other ways. But for me, I like looking like I am a person. I like looking like I am a person. A person with a body that is well fed. Bon Q bon. So true. Love when my anime girls look like actual human beings. Me personally, yeah. And I didn't really mind the build of 1.0. She just looked very slim to me. And then if you looked at her actual body, she was very slim. Her waist was itty bitty. But I feel like I like the size of this waist more. This Oni wanting bones. This is the Greek book of the Old Testament. I wouldn't know. I've never read it. But yeah, I don't know. I still think I have a very pretty bodily curve. It's funny because I know my mama prefers like really big breasted women. But I think they did a really good job with making me kind of fit like having bigger boobs, but also not going too big. They're not too big. I'm still in the pretty girl range. Pretty young woman. That is to say, my mama's preference for women is like mommies. The kimono made old Yuno look flat. I think a lot of the problems with 1.0 Yuno is that she was not drawn super high definition. She rendered in very small. And then also, yeah, the big obi made it look like she was a lot flatter. And that is the style for Oiran. Because again, in the initial design that my mama gave me, I still had the big fucking obi. Because that's usually what is expected of an Oiran. But I asked for it to be made lower and smaller. Because I knew that if I didn't, everyone was just going to say that I was flat again. Time to modernize? Yeah, exactly. That was the other main thing I asked for. Make her look like an oiran, but like have it be a slightly more modern style of kimono and stuff. Which I think worked out for me. I do honestly think that this design is like pretty peak. I didn't have many notes on the actual like design itself. Like I didn't have any notes on how the kimono looked. I didn't have any notes on the black dress underneath. I liked the see-through sheer top. I liked the pattern on the top. I liked basically everything. Besides the size of the obi. And then when she shrunk it and she decided to like change the accessories and stuff on it, I was like, well, I guess I'm just gonna change it out entirely. Hee hee hoo hoo. It's awesome. Just because the mountain has trees doesn't mean the peak isn't there. Crazy statement. But this is true. And I would try to tell people this, but, you know, it is. But I think that this design worked out for the better. And I think you guys will also be excited to see all the stuff I have for Yellow, because Yellow also has concept art and very detailed reference sheets and all that fun stuff. I think you guys will be really excited for Yellow. I'm really excited for Yellow. I've low-key been debating if I should do not a full-on Unathon, because I still don't feel ready to do another Unathon. But I've been debating if I should put up a goal on Sponsa soon, so that we can try and get Yellow rigged. I've been thinking about it. I'm thinking very muchly about it. But I think I need to get back into the swing of making content regularly and figuring out what I'm doing in the in-between, because I have to make sure I'm making enough money for my bills before I can also have a separate goal for the model. Booba get bigger with every new model? No. No, no, no. That's not happening. I like my current size. Could we expect body proportions to change between models? I might look bigger in certain models than others, depending on the outfit. Because, like, one of the main reasons I look this big in this model is because of the fact that I am wearing a dress that has a corset that makes my boob big, more plump, pushed out, I guess. But it's probably not going to get much bigger in terms of, like, actual size. IMO. Any ideal rigger in mind for Yellow? I do have one person that I am interested in sending an inquiry to for the rig, but they aren't open. I don't know when they're going to open. I have notifications on so that I should hopefully be alerted when they are open. But I also don't know if they offer the specific service I'm looking for, which is just rigging a second outfit on top of an existing model. I think most of their samples are rigging from the ground up. And I don't know if they've ever rigged, like, a specific outfit and, like, specific new hairstyles on top of an existing model rig. Like, I feel like that's not something they've done before, and so I don't even know if they would say yes. But that is somebody that I have in mind currently. But I don't know if they're open. Wonder if you could email that question beforehand. I've thought about it, yeah. I've thought about just being like, hey, I am interested in your rigging commissions, but I don't know if you offer XYZ thing. I might do it. I'll have to see. And also, I would hope that I could maybe get a quote for how much they think that would cost, depending. I wasn't planning to send the inquiry until their commissions actually opened, Because I was scared to send an inquiry while they're closed and then just get an automatic, I'm closed! No talking me, I'm closed. Because some artists are like that, which is very fair. Which is very fair and valid. You don't necessarily want to have to deal with the inquiries for projects that come after the ones you're currently working on. So, I don't know. Doesn't hurt to ask. Yeah, I'm aware. I just gotta do it. I just gotta do it. As a theme, each Yuno is boosted on a body part. Green is forehead, purple is bust, yellow is thighs. No, I can already tell you yellow would basically be considered bust again. If anything, you might be a little bit disappointed by certain aspects of yellow. But I really like yellow, so I hope that you're still able to like her regardless. Bottom heavy Yuki Onna. I don't know. I'm planning to leave a lot of elements of Yuki Onna up to Mama when the time comes. Just, if you could make this woman into a Yuki Onna, do it, please. Thank you. That's the main thing that I want from... That's the main thing I'm gonna ask Sumeragi for. I'm a very easy-to-please person. Besides, like, very minor tweaks that I asked for with Orpal, I had no real qualms with what she designed, so I feel like whatever she designs for Yuki Onna will look really good. The badonkiest donk? Perhaps. Yuki Oni. Don't tell me wife gets nerfed. Not really. It's the same base body. Like, my body proportions are the same base-wise. For yellow, because she just drew on top of the base that she has for me. You know, for the sake of the new outfits. So, like, the base body proportions are going to be the same for yellow. It's just, like, a different outfit vibe. You're like the kind of client artists love to work with, specific enough to have direction, not picky enough that it's annoying. I mean, I try to be a good client. The last thing that I want is to be a bad one. I'm always, like, constantly reading TOS. I make sure everything that I ask for is, like, within artist terms. I try to be like, yeah, I really like XYZ part. I think if we adjust this, it would look better. I try to word it very politely. I do my best, man. Especially as someone who doesn't really draw, I feel like I can't really be too mean or critical when it comes to getting help from an artist, because I'm just like, look, man, I have an idea in my head. I can't make it happen. That's why I am here and I'm talking to you, so I trust you to make it happen. But I also just knew Sumeragi Kohaku would be really good at drawing, you know. I always had this thought, even when I was still corporate. I specifically have memories of asking management to someday get Sumeragi Kohaku to draw, like, merch art for me, or to draw, like, a new key visual for me someday. Because I just really loved her art style, and I just knew that I would look really good in it. And then, you know, company exploded, so I was like, I guess now's as good a time as any. Ha ha ha. And I went for it. Yeah. Yuno breaks every TOS. Okay, click, but I can do better. No! I don't break TOS. I try very hard not to. There have been a handful of times where I've, like, misunderstood something, and then I've been like, oh shit, I'm terrible, I'm awful, everything sucks. But then there have been other times where I've been, like, just very good about it. But yeah, we'll see. Yuki Onna isn't going to happen for quite a while, because we have to focus on the progress for Yellow. I'd really like to release Yellow sometime this year, which is why I was thinking about opening up the Sponsa Dono bar. And that it would just be kind of a casual thing. Like, I'd have it on stream, probably, and then I'd mention it pretty often, but for the most part, I wouldn't really put too much pressure on donating to it. Your girl just wants to get it eventually. Ideally this year, but I'm not, like, hurting for it. I'm still very happy with regular Orpal. But when it is Yellow's turn, I hope that we will all be excited for her. Because that's the design, too, that Kaya made. Kaya originally made it for 1.0, like to go over 1.0's body. But I think that Sumeragi did a really good job interpreting it in her art style and making it work for Yuno. So I'm excited. She's really cute. Ugh, I want her so bad. I want her so bad, but soon. That's the clickba. The TOS is from Plymouth Colony. Woman out here not reading the OT and showing ankle. Probably hasn't even once paid the corn tax. Not the corn tax! Owaru. Ankle, how scandalous. Stares longingly at the screen, size in yellow. Gotta have a Yuno plushie that we can squeeze. Man, plushies are such a crazy investment for merch companies, though. They have such a high MOQ, and then, like, they cost so much per plush. And I'm also not famous enough to be in a situation where it's like, do you want to crowdfund a plushie? So, that's probably not happening for a while. I did have a thought about one piece of merch, though. But that would be a spoiler for Yellow, so I can't talk about that one. Can't talk about that plan right now. If you want a prototype, I know someone. I appreciate it, but I'd have to pay for the prototype too. You know, Hanaki has no money right now. One Piece merch. Ask Kaya, but she already said yes. No, one piece of merch. Not One Piece merch. One piece of merch. A merch idea that is one piece. A singular piece of merch. That's how far I have thought in terms of merch. But like I said, it's related to Yellow, and it would be a spoiler, so I cannot say what the merch thing is. All I can tell you is that it's related to Yellow. But I think it'll turn out really cute if I decide to go through with it. I think it would be a bit easier to go through with this thing than it would be to go through with, a full-on Yuno plush. I just don't think there's enough of a market for a Yuno plush, unfortunately. As an idea for a gimmick, Yuno mood ring? A mood ring? I mean, that's kind of hard to brand as being for a specific individual, no? I guess there would just have to be a pattern on the ring itself, or like inside the band? I don't know. Gotta make sure I can get Yellow merch back to the coal mines. 07. It's okay. It's like I said, it's gonna be a little while. Ideally, I'd like to have Yellow debut this year, but I don't know if there would be merch for Yellow right away. Kind of like how we waited for merch for Orpal until my birthday. We'd probably wait for merch for Yellow too. A Yuno mood ring would just have a roller coaster engraving. It's so over. We're so back. It's so over. We're so back. It's so over. Very true. Instead of it being a mood ring for you, it's so you can keep track of my moods, and so you can see the colors rapidly go back and forth in real time whenever I'm having a crash out. Bro, she's been red all day. Yeah, accurate. 1 a.m. the ring turns your room into a rave while you're trying to sleep. It's like that meme where somebody's blasting Darude Sandstorm in the next room over and the flashing lights are just in your room while you're laying in bed, contemplating your life choices. I'm face down on the floor while Darude Sandstorm is playing around me and the lights are going crazy. Accurate, I think. Stream Sync mood ring would go hard. Didn't Hololive have like a merch thing that released where you could have like a orb or something that sits on your desk and it like pulsates and changes colors based on like the breathing patterns of the holo member that it's attached to or whatever? Isn't that kind of also a mood ring? It's not breathing pattern entirely, it's also like heart rate and stuff. The balls? Yes, the balls! Reverb. Finally, I can sync my breathing with my streamer. I'm sorry to tell you this, I don't breathe very much. You might die. Buy your faves balls to feel connected. Amazing. Purple gold is a thing. Time to partner with a jeweler to make some merch. I didn't know purple gold was a thing. How purple does it look? I have to look this up now. Purple gold. Oh, yeah, that is actually quite purple. That does kind of slap, actually. Noted. I would love to partner with a jewelry company. I mean, I think it's every VTuber girl's dream to eventually have a collab with Bisou Lovely. Like, Bisou makes really pretty jewelry and like anime slash like VTuber girl jewelry. I think it's every VTuber woman's dream. And it is also one of mine. I do kind of want to have Yuno themed jewelry made in a very pretty fashion. But, you know, my audience isn't wide enough for that to be a palatable choice. I would need more women, which I don't have. I don't have women in my audience, really. I have a handful. 5 on a good day. So I would have to widen the audience more first, which I'm working on. And then I'd have to be big enough to even be on the radar for that. Girls, where you at? Women! Rings the bell. Women! Rings the bell. You know, cufflinks, tie clip, or unisex ring designs could go hard, though. Oh, no, very true. I do agree with this. I think that would be really cute. But at least in the case of Bisou, I don't think she designs masculine jewelry. I could be wrong. I haven't followed her stuff in a little while. I mostly have just seen the pieces she's worked on in collaboration with Iron Mouse, and those are very high femme, high quality pieces. But I think some like cute ring designs or like a tie clip could be cute. I think I have to be careful with rings, though. People might get the wrong idea. And there have been some situations that have occurred from people releasing rings. Dare I say there have been some situations? Dare I say that there have been some circumstances? And I wouldn't really want to do that. The situation, really? Yeah, true. The one very big situation. As long as no one is parasocial about it. Well, see...
Well, you see, VTubing is inherently parasocial because...
I'm kidding. Except not really. It's more that, like, I've had situations before where people have misconstrued what I have done for my content as being GFE. And I'm just like, I don't want that, please. I wouldn't want that to happen again. Sorry, you know, your ring is cool, but nothing's taking my ring pop off my ring finger. That's fair. What are you gonna do when you finish eating the ring pop, though? Are you just gonna leave the plastic on there? Unless you're doing something crazy and you're not even licking it. Cry because of the divorce. Good point. Good point. Understandable. Good point. Fair enough. Understandable. Have a good day. Gallony friend experience. Wait, GFE, you part of you, I laugh. There was a time. It mostly happened when Kawaii was still active, though. I think that people made assumptions because of other people in the company that everybody would do GFE. Which... I won't lie, when I was first hired, I think they were expecting me to. I think they were expecting me to be the most GFE one of the three that got hired for Hana Mizuki. And then I was like, because I saw what was happening in some cases, and like the way some people would act when it came to GFE, and I was like, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I don't want that kind of environment for myself, actually. And so I backed out of it real quick. But there was a time where if I expressed any sort of, like, affection towards my viewers, people would, like, take the inch and run and make it, like, a mile and presume things. And I was like, maybe don't, please. Now it is the OFE? Yeah, the Only Friends experience. What could have been, I suppose. I mean, I still do roleplay stuff occasionally. I don't mind doing it in the case of, like, a roleplay scenario, but I'm very obvious about it being a roleplay, and I don't do it often. We can't even be great friends anymore. Only friends. Well, I think I've said this before, but Sora used to say that his goal when it came to managing me was to get me to come across as, like, the girl next door experience. Not full-on childhood friend in a way, but kind of the, like, chill friend that you would hang out with a lot. He also specifically said things like the cool cousin that you hang out with at the family gatherings because you're close to the same age and you kind of get each other. So you always seek them out so you don't have to deal with the older relatives. Like, that was kind of the vibe that he wanted me to have when it came to my on-stream vibes. Been saying you could do XGFE. Yes, and I do plan... I think maybe some next year's Valentine's I might do something silly with XGFE, just because that would be pretty funny. I think that'd be pretty good. Can't believe Yuno is making Kaya be the GFE for Mialoon. Well, I can believe that, but it requires Yuno making Kaya lose a bet, and that requires Yuno to win. Yeah, nah. There's so many layers of insult. Why did you have to give me, like, a triple layer cake of insults? Tier 1 insult, Tier 2 insult, Tier 3 insult. Where's the fucking buttercream, bro? Can I have, like, a little bit of solace? Can we have a little bit of cushion? Oh, Hanaki cousin, you know. Oh, Hanaki cousin. Now I just sound like a surfer. Yo, what's up, cousin? Cheesecake Factory of Insult. Wow, this menu's like 10 pages long, and yet all of them involve different insults of me. I missed you and you've been gone. Gotta stack the pancakes. Aw, I've missed you guys too. And I do mean it genuinely. I've missed you guys too. You'll be getting more streams this week. Granted, a lot of them are going to be Otome games, but I will try to make time for yapping in the before and the after. So that way, there's a little bit of cushion there. And then I will have to take a few more days off to, like, recover and also go back to my studying. But then, we'll have a more consistent schedule posting going on from now on again. I am basically off the hiatus, I think I can say. I'm gonna try to be more consistent again. It's still gonna look a bit less than before, but your girl's trying. Yeah, we're so back. I needed to be dead for most of March and all of April. And now we're back. This week? Yeah, this week. I've posted my schedule already on Twitter. I need to post it on YouTube. I forgot to post it on YouTube when I posted it this morning. Thanks for reminding me. I remember back when Yuno only permitted herself to swearing once per day on stream, because that's what management said! I took it very literally! I think they specifically said that we could swear like once or twice in a stream, and that they just would prefer we not do it too much. So I was like, okay. At first I was avoiding swearing entirely, and then there would be like times where it would slip out and I'd be like, oh no, I cursed! And then there were times where I was like, okay, look, I'm going to allow myself one swear. One time to be really mad. And then I would say my swear word. My swear word of the stream. And then eventually I realized that Kaya wasn't really getting in trouble for swearing a lot. And I was like, well, maybe it's a sign that I've been taking it a little bit too seriously. And it kind of eventually reached a point too where they were just like, we honestly don't care that much anymore. And I was like, okay. Have you had any swear tokens? No. I never really had to deal with like a swear jar or anything like that growing up either. Onimama didn't really care, I don't think. Well, she cared more if I sweared a lot when I was like small. But I think once I reached like my teenage years, she was like, whatever. She also started doing this thing where she would just tune out whenever me and my friends would talk to each other near her. Like if she was driving us somewhere, she just wouldn't listen to what we were saying at all. And we tested it by swearing a lot, and she did not have any reaction. So she just kind of stopped caring once I reached my teenage years. She cared a little bit more when I was younger. But even then, still not much. Could we say that the April showers brought Mayflowers because you are back? I suppose I am a Mayflower then, yes. Well, to be fair, bellflowers do usually bloom during the summer. Mid-late summer. Yeah. Honestly, I like it cleaner. Higher brain usage. F-bombs are easy. 0.1 neuron use. Fudge this Monday fudging Richard is high brain. 4 neurons. Tickles a little behind the eye. A good tickle. I don't think I could do the, like, replacement in terms of fudge. I could definitely say frick. And I could probably say, like... I don't know. I think there's other things that I would use rather than the full-on, like, replacement. Mad respect to the people who can do things like saying fruit or fudge or that kind of thing. I do try to avoid, well, I shouldn't say fully avoid. If a swear word comes out, a swear word comes out. But I think that overall I still don't really swear that much. I swear more than I used to, but I think for the most part. Not really. That was probably the sign the company was dead. I don't think so. I think they were pretty loose with it even before any sort of whisperings about a closure occurred. I don't fully remember, though. It was so long ago. At the very least with Hanamizuki, I think they tried to have us stick to the not really swearing much thing, and then it like loosened up pretty quickly. And then, like I said, Kaya was basically not really getting in trouble for months, so I was like, does that mean I can do it? Does that mean I can? If you're letting her? But again, I still don't think I swear a lot. It's just that I do. I don't really bother to, like, censor it if it's going to slip out. In general, I always tried to avoid swearing in front of my parents. The few times that I did, it was because it slipped out. That's fair. It eventually reached a point with me and Onimama where I was swearing at her. Not at her. That's a very different context. I would swear while talking to her. And she would just kind of let it go. It was never really something she held against me. And thus she would start swearing too while we spoke. We had a very casual way of speaking with one another, which was fun. It's not a lot. I don't really notice until someone points it out. I've been saying... I think I tend to swear more when I'm, like, gaming. Versus, like, a Zatsu. I feel like it's a lot easier for me to just be chill. Just kind of yap about whatever. I feel like I don't swear that much on stream anyway. I think I'm still pretty good at keeping it chill during streams. My mom's go-to sub is bean soup, which took me until like age 13 to realize. Bean soup? Wonder what that's meant to be. Yuno swear stream win? What do you mean? A stream where I just swear a whole bunch? Where I am a sailor? Yes. Oh! I was trying to do it phonetically. I was like, what is that meant to replace? Bitch? No. BS makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I keep it fairly clean. My video essays too, once I start working on the second YouTube channel, are probably going to be fairly clean because I don't really want YouTube to get mad at me. There are some things that I refuse to censor though, because I don't really want to turn into like TikTok speak. Like, if you ever unironically hear me say on a live, feel free to kill me. Because I don't want to live in that world. Hate that shit, on God. I will use the words for things if I need to, because God, hate that. TikTok language to get around censors is crazy. Yeah. No, it really is. I don't like it. Keep yourself safe, girly pop. Well, at least that one's kind of funny. At least that one's a little funny. Mostly because everyone knows what it means. It's funny because it's mostly ineffective anyway. Algorithms have already evolved to take context into account. Yeah, I've noticed instead of using the TikTokified language, people have just resorted to, like, just muting the word entirely. Because you can't even really bleep it. Bleeping seems to get things bonked too, so they just kind of mute the word entirely, so there's just no sound. You say girly soda. No, I say pop. I don't really talk about it much, but I do usually say pup. I've changed it on stream to say soda so that more people understand what I'm talking about. In my native tongue, though, it's pop. Girly cola. So there can be educational channels that talk about harder subjects. It's hard, though, because, like, certain channels are still getting, like, bonked for it. I guess because they aren't being listed as purely educational channels. It depends on where you are, I suppose. I feel like commentary YouTubers are still getting bonked for it a lot, but that's because they're trying to do it for entertainment purposes and not really to educate. What is the purpose of your journalism? Type shit. I miss the times when people could use the real words. Brother, me too. But advertisers like to pull their money. Region confirmation of Onigashima? It confirms nothing. But yes, I am a pop truther. I do be a truther about pop specifically. But to be safe, I do think a lot of my essays on YouTube are probably going to be more vanilla. Like, they're not going to have a lot of swearing in them. I might just experiment with the beeps to see if that does anything, but yeah. Internet user caught censor maxing word mocked by real letters. None of those fucking words are in the Bible. Word mocked is crazy. I love this. Because pop, I got this weird question. Girly pop means nothing bad, right? No, girly pop is just a silly way. Well, I shouldn't say fully silly. It's like a derogatory way, kind of, to refer to a girl. Like, it's something that you would say if you were talking down to another girl. It's like stan language slash, like, certain fandom Twitters, certain kind of things. Like, saying girly pup isn't always, like, some people do use it affectionately, but unfortunately I think a lot of the primary context is like, you don't know what you're talking about, girly pop. Like, it's like, okay, girly pop, let's calm down. Like, kind of like that. It's in the sense of, like, kind of mockingly talking down to somebody. Yeah, some people will use it on themselves in a silly way. And I think some friends can also say it to each other in a silly way, but it started in a bit of a more derogatory manner. Thank God I asked because I've been using it in a mistaken way then. Oh, it's fine. It's okay. Language evolves. If anything, there's a high chance that it could start being used more positively over time. Maybe you're just ahead of the curve. Like how bless your heart is not wishing someone well. Yeah, kind of. It's in a similar vein to that. The more formal way is to say girly soft drink. The usage is kind of turning to just be a whimsical way to see cute girl, usually associated with a hyperpop aesthetic. Yeah, it's tied to a certain aesthetic too. That is also a good point to bring up. Language is funny like that. Sounds like something a Southern belle would use. What, bless your heart? Yeah, that is a Southern term. Girly pup, derog is sweet cheeks. Non-derog is more little lady. It depends. I think little lady can still have a little bit of derogatory intonation to it, but it depends on who's saying it and the context. But you're right that Sweet Cheeks is definitely seen as very derogatory. Context matters. I think you can get away with most usages of words as long as your context is clear. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. Language do always be evolving. Oh no, my browser. There we go. I feel like my browser freezes up a lot more. I wonder if this is a sign for me to finally move away from Chrome. Maybe I have to get a different internet browser. Bleh. I know it takes like 5 seconds to port everything over, but man, the convenience. But it freezes like once a stream these days. At least if I'm doing a chatting stream. Having both the Twitch window and the YouTube chat window open seems to make my internet freeze up. Well, not freeze. Not my internet, but the browser freezes up. It dies. Shut up! That's my food alarm. I switched to Waterfox a little while ago and I really like it here. Food. Yeah, that's my make sure you eat stupid. Because otherwise I won't figure out dinner. And then I'll eat really late, and that's not good for me. Come to Internet Explorer. No, I think most things break on Internet Explorer. I hear Firefox doesn't really work super well, though, either. I gotta do some comparison and contraction. Waterfox is a privacy-focused branch of Firefox. I use it and it's very nice. Ooh, okay. Noted. Every browser is getting so bloated. God, I know, right? I'm both old and a Luddite. Once I was told Firefox was better at Internet Explorer, I switched, then ignored Chrome for 20 years. That's pretty based. I think I went Internet Explorer to Chrome, and then I never switched back. Unfortunately. Yeah, using Chrome is kind of useful just for the sake of Chromium being everywhere. And there's also just certain like apps and plugins and things that only work on Chrome, so it's not like I can fully get rid of it. I think for my primary browser though, I should probably try and switch to something else. Using Brave now, but I've been through Firefox, Chrome, Edge, and Opera GX. I've heard mostly good things about Brave. People were really big on Opera GX for a while, but I feel like nobody talks about it anymore. I feel like of those, I mostly have heard good things about Brave. But I'll look around. I'll see if I can find something good. And also, I agree. If there's too much forced AI integration, I might just be like, pfft. Granted, Chrome still has a lot of it too, so I'm just like, man, nowhere is safe. I get so pissed off every time I Google something in my search bar and it gives me an AI result first. I'm just like, can you shut up? Can you shut up and die? I don't want to see what the AI thinks first. I want to see actual results. Not to mention Google Gemini is really stupid. That thing has no brain. Brave works. That is certainly a sentence, yeah. Brave is also a privacy-focused browser. I haven't used it. One of the main reasons I switched to Waterfox was because they're anti-AI. Also noted. Good to know, good to know. I laugh about the GFE that she calls me based and I liquefy for 2 heartbeats. Ha ha! Ha 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 ha! You got complimented by a girl once and you fell for it. You fell for it! Gemini is supposed to be the smartest AI on the market right now, and if it's that dumb, are you kidding me? Every time I've like tried to look at Gemini's actual results, it's like typoed to hell and back. It uses 8 million commas where they don't need to be used. I'm just like, huh? What are you trying to say to me? Google AI usually just quotes the most relevant Reddit post anyway. It's because they know that most people tack on Reddit whenever they're searching for something, because usually people talking on Reddit have the answers. Which is consistently pretty true. I feel like anytime I've tried to look on a Reddit for something, I usually get the right answer. Usually. I would say like 8 times out of 10. There are a couple times where Reddit has steered me wrong, but still. Not that I'm an active Reddit peruser. It's just that if I have a question for something and I search for a specific Reddit, finding the specific subreddit will usually get me what I need. I don't exist on Reddit. Have I told you guys that I'm stuck with the initial version of my username from Kawaii on Reddit because Reddit doesn't let you change your handle? So I'm like, I don't even remember what the actual name of the account is, but they asked if I wanted it when we were transferring all of our accounts during the closure, and I was like, okay. And then I forgot that it was still, hold on, let me see if I can find it. I think I'm still signed into it. It's like literally the worst. Yeah, no, it's not that. It's worse. It's kawaii_HMK_HY, because we had to make the Reddit account before we revealed our names because they wanted us to start posting on Reddit in order to like advertise our debuts. But we couldn't reveal our names yet because they didn't have the name reveal stream. So it's not only got kawaii in it, but it's also the old abbreviation of Hanamizuki. Not even the HMZ, it's HMK, and then it's HY because I didn't have my name revealed then. Man. I didn't even realize he used Reddit on that account anyway. I only posted on Reddit once. I didn't really like Reddit. And I also didn't really feel like it was helping me. You could post on that and I would be like, whoops. Yeah, as you should. Big fan, Mrs. HY. Thanks. It's like how my Streamlabs got effed up and it didn't let me have my name either. I don't get not revealing the name of VTubers like that. Management had a very specific vision for what they wanted with our debut. They specifically wanted to be like, they didn't want... I think I can vaguely remember how Cowdian worded it, but it was basically like, we want these accounts to seem mysterious and have them tied to kawaii, but not make it super obvious that it's meant to be a new gen. People are going to know that it's a new gen, but we don't want to make it obvious, is like what they wanted. So when the accounts were first revealed, they didn't want anyone thinking that it was a new gen of VTubers right away. They just wanted it to be like, what are these mysterious accounts? Why do they have kawaii in the user? That's so strange. Interesting. And they specifically wanted it to be like that. I remember them posting about that in our group chat, because we also thought it was strange. We also found it weird. So that's why our usernames looked like that in the beginning, because they wanted it to seem mysterious. And then later they were like, it's a new gen! And we still couldn't reveal our names. And then they were like, here's the name reveal stream. And then we could finally reveal our names. Mysterious emote-only mode VTubers. They had expected us to write more text, but they had told us before Was it your gen that was tweeting with only emojis? Yes. Yes, it was ours. Was this before or after you were talking like bots? Oh, this was before. This was when they were talking about the full plan of like what they wanted to see for our debut. Make the account seem mysterious. Only let us tweet on it properly like once a day. Wanted us to avoid anything too revealing about us being VTubers. Avoid talking too much with the other girls. Or like with any other like existing talents. Like don't really talk to other people much if you can help it. If you are going to talk to other people, limit it to emotes. Was what they said. Like it was something like try to stick to just using like emojis or like things that won't give too much away about your personalities. Which was what led to us just making our silly emote tweets. But because we were doing it so much, it was starting to hurt our accounts' reach, and it caused the senpai to be like, why are you doing this to them? Why are you making them do this? And then management was like, we're not. We told them to be careful. We didn't think they were going to take it this literally. And then also specifically, one of the other managers was like, we were going to ask why you kept only posting emotes, but it seemed funny, so we let it happen. It was only after they got scolded by the senpais that they realized that maybe they should tell us to free ourselves a little bit. So we were able to start tweeting properly after that. Specifically, it made sense to start tweeting normally after our names were revealed because it was like you had a better understanding of who we were at that point. So we just agreed that once our names were revealed, we would start tweeting with words. It was quirky and novel. It was. It honestly was really fun because it led to us talking in our group chat every day, trying to figure out what kind of emote tweets we were all going to post. And then Kaya made a game out of trying to translate our whatever our planned tweets were. It was pretty silly. Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was bad in theory and it was a fun reveal, but it was just unluckily designed for the algorithm to hate. Oh yeah, no, for sure. And then, you know, unlike some other companies where they give you Twitter Blue as part of being in the company, that was never in the cards for us. They were able to make the production Kawaii Twitter gold, but they didn't allow any of us to have, like, provided blue accounts. We had to pay for it ourselves if we wanted it. Which is very silly. So, we were kind of screwed anyway, because that was right when they were starting to use Twitter Blue more often, and they started promoting blue users more than regular users. So not only were we new accounts only posting in emojis, but we also didn't have blue, so we weren't getting boosted anyway. It was a big thing. Anyways. Very silly choice overall. But no, it's because we had to censor our names that now I'm stuck with a Reddit account that is a verified VTuber, and I could post in the VTuber subreddit with it, but it now no longer reflects me at all. Because it's the old branding and I can't change it. I could make a new Reddit if I really wanted to use the Reddit account, or use Reddit in general, I guess, but I would have to get re-verified. I got instant verified, through being part of Kawaii. The verified VTuber, Kawaii HMKYH. Yeah, I know! Why does she get to be the verified VTuber? I'm VTuber! Is it difficult to get verified? I don't know. All I know is that we got instantly verified without having to post because management handled it for us. That's all I'm aware of. I don't really use Reddit. Honestly, I'm not gonna bother with it because I don't really use Reddit. Although I am using the Hanaki Reddit to follow the Bustafellows subreddit because the English oh, as you hear it autoplay. The Bustafellows account made an English subreddit, so I follow that. That's all I use this for. Is for Bustafellows, and I do occasionally peek at the VTuber subreddit, I guess, but I don't really post there. Sorry I made you hear my husband, Limbo Fitzgerald, for a second. It will happen again. I love him. But yeah, anyway. But like I said, they had a very specific vision for what they wanted for the debut, or like the plans leading up to debut, so they were like very strict about what we were and were not allowed to say. For example, even our like bios before we could have our proper ones, I had the one in Oni as my joke bio that was like kind of hinting at the fact that I was an Oni. But Ran-chan tried to have let me be your only Ran in hers, but management told her that she couldn't use that because it was revealing her name. And I was so mad for her, because I was like, man, that's such a good pun, though. It would have been so banger. The buttery one. Yeah, Miss Butter. I'm surprised they let me get away with one in Oni. I guess because it was just a concept tease and not like a full reveal, question mark? Question mark? I don't know. Pun denial is a war crime. I've been saying they should have let her have it. But, you know, like I said, it's because it was a name reveal. I kind of understood their reasoning. Kaya couldn't think of any puns out of being a ninja, so she just put Nin Nin. Remember when Nin Nin was a big shtick for her? Onigashima remembers. Management trying so hard to get her to use that as a swear word replacement. Never worked. If anything, we just memed it. What the Nin Nin? What in the Nin Nin? Yeah, we mostly memed it. I don't think it was ever a serious, like, replacement word. They really wanted her to try and make it one, though. This much I remember her telling me. Now it doesn't even apply because she's a pirate dragon now, so I don't even know what the option would be. Is there even an alternative? Who knows? What the gal? What the gal? Crazy. I suppose so. Gaonindayo? My goodness. Now it's just getting complicated. She can still use it since she isn't putting the ninja model away. I suppose that's true. She does still use it occasionally. Which I'm glad for. Because it's a very pretty model. I wish Butter wasn't in jail. I pull her out sometimes because I have her. And I will just look at her offline to be like, man, what could have been? The universe where I could have been Butter. Which had been my initial plan. I had wanted to be Butter. There's a universe where that was me. Crazy. Ninja model is so pretty. Agree. They both have very pretty models. Have/had. Very pretty models. I still think I won with mine, however. 1.0 did cook, especially for, like, the time period that, I debuted in. I think that the green model was pretty good. I think everything around it was kinda... I wish it could have been better, but... that's just how it be. But I did like green. I felt like 1.0 was pretty high quality for the standards of late 2023 VTubing. And then we were very quickly outpaced. I feel like 2024, everything like shot up in quality. And so it was like, we're immediately obsolete. Immediately. But yeah, also the vibes were very off. Among other things. And they didn't really... They provided a decent amount for starting out, but they didn't really provide the stuff that we felt we needed to stick out. And that's also something I kind of regret. Nothing that really could have been done about that, though. But all the debuts that started coming immediately after us were, like, super high quality and, like, super crazy, and so we started feeling like we were getting outpaced very quickly. But there wasn't much that could be done about it.
All we could do is our best.
And then we also found out very quickly that there was a new gen coming after us, so we were like, oh... I've talked about this briefly before, but it did feel like we were very quickly just debuted, and then management immediately turned their backs to start working on helping the Kohai. And it was like, oh, okay. Which felt a little rough. We never really got our chance to cement a lot of things about us before they started working on the next gen. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, you know? I don't really have any resentment towards them for it. I knew that they probably were, like, feeling some sort of pressure to work on the next gen right away. So I can't really fault them. I just wish it had been different. I wish we had gotten a little bit more time to be the babies, perhaps. To get some attention, perhaps. But I don't know how much it really would have done at the end of the day. Considering how quickly everything went. But, you know. Anyway, what should I do for dinner? I know this is random, but since my food alarm went off, and I'm now like 20 minutes past when I was supposed to start figuring out food. I have to figure out food. Mean. Roasted veggies? I don't have veggies. Sandwich? Soup? What was the first meal of the day? Dinner's gonna be the first meal of the day. I haven't eaten. Air. True. No, they're blocking me. I'm sorry. Yuno Oni Girl Hanaki. Not the full name. Listen. 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 Onion. I just go get onion from the fridge. Eat it like an apple. I would say you had sunlight for lunch, but I'm sure you haven't even seen the sun in days. Well, that's because it's cloudy in Onigashima. It's not my fault. There's just no sun outside in general. Someone was face deep in studies. Hey! Chimkin wrap? I mean, I have chicken. I don't think I can make a wrap, though. I don't have wraps. Invest in some calorie consumption. Bro, you think I'm not trying? Burger. Man. Man. I don't know. Wrap chicken. This chicken's laying down some sick beats. Chicken wrapped chicken. Yeah, chicken with a side of chicken. And maybe some extra chicken. Worst case scenario, eat a slice of bread. Just one. Just one slice of bread. I mean, I have bread. I do have bread. Hey, Yuno, watch this. No, it's all yummy foods. No, I'm getting attacked. That's crazy. Bro went to the frickin' buffet. A typical first plate at a buffet be like... It's bocked up. It's true. I'll figure it out. It's been a little chilly, so maybe soup? Maybe not soup, though. Doesn't sound good. Bread the chicken tenders with popcorn chicken, then put in a salad. Yeah, true. I wish I had stuff to make a salad. Off topic, but I have a me of you on my Tomodachi Life Island, and I regret to inform you that her number 2 favorite food of all time is baked beans. Feed her other foods! Give her something else right now! Surely there's gotta be something else that will replace it. I was telling Hitomi this when it comes to the Miyus, but I really wish that it let you edit, like, their food preferences in a way, like, in case you had someone who was, like, a vegetarian or something, to make it so they could only eat the veggie dishes, or the stuff that didn't have meat. If only so I could also edit the Yuno me so she doesn't eat beans. Stop giving her bean stuff. Because I feel like a lot of the characters that we've added on our island keep eating stuff that's like the opposite of what they usually eat. Like, it'd be so cool to be like, make them have a sweet tooth so they only eat the sugary, like, desserts. Or like, make it so they only eat XYZ thing. Like, even if they're a carnivore, and just make it they only eat the meat dishes. Or like, only savory food, only spicy. I feel like you should be able to tweak their tastes. Instead of it just being painfully random. Because there's been so many cases where, like, characters we've put on the island who don't like sweets end up having sweets be the only thing they want to eat. And I'm just like, that's not canon, how dare you? They're not accurate! And it's evil. But it's like a minor issue, I suppose. I can understand why they would want to make it random, especially for the sake of finding the loves and, like, the loathes of the Miyas. I get why they want it to be kind of random, but man, it just doesn't feel accurate to me. How dare my wacky life sim not be accurate? That's literally me, though. I'm just like, how dare? I only gave her it once to see if she hated it. She ended up having a fancy cutscene and everything. I cannot believe this! You know, Hanaki. How could this happen to her?
Cute. Do better.
Ted Ed GR, thank you for the $25 tip. You know, Hanaki, go get yourself a burger. Please do not go without eating all day. Thank you for burger money. Thank you. I appreciate it. That's very kind. I will contemplate getting burger. I will contemplate the food options. I probably should eat soon, though. I'm actually starting to feel hungry. Gee, it's almost like I have an alarm for 30 minutes before my body tends to start getting hungry. so that I can figure out food and I'm not stuck thinking about food when I am in hunger mode. Holds my head. It might be you not in disguise on the island instead. Yeah, it's that imposter! That bitch loves beans! Identity theft. Crazy how that works. Yeah, crazy. Wow, crazy. Anyway. What if you Pavlov yourself? No, my body has always been like this, genuinely. Oni Mama always preferred to eat by 6, like, the entirety of my life growing up. So this is genuinely just how my body already is. It's just that, like, the reason I have the alarm is so that I start thinking about it when I'm not hungry, so that I can actually pick something proper. And then by the time I am done making the food, I am at just the right amount of hungry. Yeah, it's not a crazy time at all. I think it's, like, ideal dinner time, honestly. When I first met Hitomi told me that they would eat dinner at, like, 9 or 10 p.m., and I was like, that's so late. I can't do that. That's so late. That's crazy to me. I can eat at, like, 6. The latest I could maybe eat is close to 8. In terms of eating dinner, anyway. I don't really have the same sort of, like, strict time when it comes to eating during the day. But in terms of dinner, I tend to be a little stricter. Seven is ideal for me. I was so weirded out when an American family I stayed with once had dinner at 5. Yeah, 5 feels too early to me, too. I sometimes do it if I'm particularly hungry, but it also feels too early. I can understand 7. I don't really mind the idea of eating at 7. I eat at 5. Well, your 5 is my 8 p.m., so in a way, it's both early and late. The layers. Maybe pizza, that way you get dinner plus breakfast and lunch. I mean, I guess I haven't had pizza in a while, but I don't know if I really want pizza. I grew up on the 7-12-4 pattern, then work shift was 10-6:30, so X 1 7 to 8. Makes sense. Generally, I eat around 7 to 8, sometimes earlier, sometimes later. Very fair. I do think it depends on, like, a work schedule and, like, that kind of vibe. I would get up pretty early in the mornings for, like, school when I was growing up, so breakfast was usually at, like, before 7. Yeah, it would be, like, before 7 most of the time. And then lunch, I think, was usually... Well, it depended on the school year, but usually, like, 12. And then in high school, I had one of the early lunches, so I had lunch at, like, 11. 11 a.m. And then dinner was always 6. So it's kind of like that. At least it's how it was in the past. I usually don't eat breakfast, so I am also X on breakfast time. Lunch, it depends on vibes. Sometimes I eat lunch, sometimes I don't. So it's usually also an X. And then dinner, which is still usually at 6. Speaking of pizza, I was watching a food ranking stream and they mentioned Bobitsa and I had Vietnam flashbacks. I assume it was the proper, like, sweet dessert pizza and not the disaster pizza that I ate. I have to presume. Eat 2 to 3 hours before bed or face the wrath of morning acid reflux. Oh yeah, no, for sure. That's why I eat at 6, because I don't go to bed until, like, way late, so I prevent acid reflux. I know better. Wasn't conscious enough to hear the explanation. Don't worry. It was probably like the sweet dessert one that I assume would actually taste good compared to the abomination I had to eat. And is unfortunately like one of the only things I'm known for besides Yuno core, I guess, question mark? I don't really know what I'm known for these days. But anyway, I am going to wrap up now so that I can actually figure out what I'm going to eat for food. But I am glad that we got a chance to hang out for a little bit. I'm sorry it couldn't be longer. Your girl's been in the mines. The content mines. But I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow for the 100th Onimon. Can you believe there's been 100 of them? Crazy. I have posted on the YouTube community tab and also on Twitter. Please send Maros. So that we can have a lot of questions to ask. A lot of questions to answer. Yes, yes. But yeah, it'll be a pretty chill time. I'll be answering the Maros. Maybe we'll take a peek at what the first Onimon was like so we can see how much I've changed over time. And then, I don't know, we'll be chilling. How are you doing with the Maros? I don't know if I've gotten a lot. Let me double check how it's been. I know some people tend to post on like the day of for streams like this, so it's not too surprising that it's not that many. Also, 16. There are 16 Maros in the inbox right now. I've been trying not to read them. I get a notification on my email that I got one, and I just delete it as soon as I see it. And I'm like, okay. We can submit various questions? Yes, you can submit more than one if you would like. We would never procrastinate? From the same people who didn't post in my 2.0 debut tag. Interesting. Interesting observation that you would say that. Fascinating. But yeah, it's at 16 right now. I feel like there will probably be more that come in tonight into tomorrow. And then worst comes to worst, if we really don't have that many Maros for the actual Q&A stream proper, like while it's happening, I can just open up the Q&A feature on YouTube and answer questions that way. Hope you go from older to newer so procrastinators don't get rewarded. I mean, I was just gonna download all the images, and then I was just gonna put them in whatever order. I don't usually put them in order received. I go based on how they're saved in the folder, and that usually makes it kind of random. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, right now there are 16. If you would like to send more, feel free. And anything's on the table. You can ask me literally whatever, and I'll answer. It is the 100th after all, so it can be a little crazy, a little silly if you'd like. And then after that, we mostly have Otome streams the rest of the week. Playing 2 Otome games on Tuesday, and then 2 more on Thursday. And then... Oh wait, no, is it just 1 on Thursday? I don't remember. Yeah, no, 2 more on Thursday, and then 1 more on Friday. So 5 games total. And then I'm off on the weekend. So, yeah. I'm also off on Wednesday. Wednesday is my usual day off day. So I will be off Wednesday too, also as well. But lots of Otome games. Hope you look forward to that. We'll also probably chat during the Otome streams, so no worries there. Yeah. Just got a good question? Nice! Feel free to ask it. But that's the plan for the rest of the week. Is there anything else I wanted to say? I don't think so. That's about it, yeah. Okay. So, until then, thank you guys so much for choosing to spend time with me. I hope that you have a good rest of your time zone. And until I see you again, Yunotsu!